Well, Peter Dutton has denied that he's a racist, following a claim made by the Independent MP Zali Steggall yesterday in a highly charged week in Canberra, after the opposition leader told this program on Wednesday that Gazans should be stopped from coming here for now. Joining us live is our panel on a Friday, National Senator Bridget McKenzie, the Independent MP Zali Steggall. She joins us as well. Zali, so I will start with you following those comments yesterday. Racism is such a loaded term. I know that Andrew asked you about this yesterday on Sky, but do you still believe this morning that Peter Dutton is a racist?
Well, I think it's important to remember what the definition of racism is, and that is relating to policies and rules that result in an unfair treatment of a minority group on the basis of race. Now, the policy that is being proposed applies unilaterally to all Palestinians coming from Gaza seeking refuge from a war zone. This policy has not been suggested by Mr. Dutton or the coalition in relation to any other war zones or other groups. It's a markedly different response to, for example, the aid we have provided in relation to other conflicts, in particular, people fleeing Ukraine, people fleeing from Kabul at the fall of Afghanistan. And so, yes, it is my view that this is a racist policy.
What is racist, though, about wanting to take a pause? And this is not an indefinite thing. Peter Dutton just said for now. So what's racist about wanting a pause on taking refugees from an area that is controlled by a listed terror organisation?
Well, with respect, he is walking back that situation, because his initial position was that we should not receive anyone or offer visas to anyone from any Palestinians from Gaza. Now, he's walking that back to say it's a pause. But with respect, this is a war zone. We know ultimately that the borders are shut, and so it's incredibly difficult for relatives of Australians and people that genuinely deserve our safe passage and safe haven in Australia to flee from a war conflict to come here. And so the difficulty Mr. Dutton has is he has inferred and implied that all pose a security risk, and that is incredibly discriminatory. And my objection is putting a human face to this. These are families. These are parents wanting to keep their children safe. And I was trying to give the story, in fact, of my experience with a Palestinian family that I had met the father in 2020. He had come to Australia under the Morrison government, I should say, with a visa approved by them to learn how to run a NIPPERS program in Gaza.
Okay.
And of course, they have been able to now make their way to Australia under visa programs. So the suggestion of the coalition is that he and his family and his beautiful children should be feared as terrorists. I absolutely reject that suggestion.
Okay. We have accepted refugees for decades, and Peter Dutton has been part of that program in the past. Bridget, over to you. You got a response to all of that?
Yeah, of course I do. We're not a racist country. The vast majority of Australians, including Muslim Australians, do not want the Labor Party importing terrorists and Hamas sympathisers. It's as simple as that. We are an incredibly compassionate country. We are second in the world in humanitarian places per capita, and we provide a safe and secure place for so many people fleeing violence and conflict around the world, and always have. And so for Zali to seed violence and hatred by her comments and stir up that type of discord at this particular time shows that she's completely ignoring the Director-General from ASIO's admonishment to us as leaders to actually take the temperature down. And by calling the opposition leader racist, you know, Zali's secured herself headlines, etc., but she's completely out of step with the vast majority of Australians, including Muslim Australians, who don't want to import terrorist sympathisers into this country. We are a safe and so cohesive society precisely because we have rigorous processes in place that the government though, Pete, sorry, Zali had like her go, the government is refusing to guarantee that these people applying for visas are going through the same rigorous processes that we put people that we brought through Syrian, etc. And verballing the Director-General of ASIO shows that the PM has misled Parliament and the Australian people.
Just on your first point there, Bridget, are we importing terrorists if they've gone through the proper checks and balances by ASIO?
Well, we are minimising the opportunity for that to happen by putting through people through face-to-face interviews, as we did, biometrics, so when they present their papers, we can actually ascertain that their identity is as they say it is. At the moment in Gaza, we do not have an embassy, we do not have officials, and the government is not using third country processing as we did in other conflicts and when we've done this. The reality is they only go to ASIO visa applicants if there's a trigger in the process, and the government is refusing to guarantee that every applicant has been through an ASIO process. It's only those that are triggered. That is the missing piece of information from the government.
Yeah, OK. So, Zali, back to you on branding Dutton a racist. I mean, again, it's such a loaded and highly inflammatory term. Are you, in fact, fuelling tension by using such a loaded and inflammatory term?
Well, you just have to listen to what Bridget was just saying to say that there is a suggestion that we are importing.
Am I a racist?
It really is something in the coalition party room, the inability to let someone speak without interrupting or trying to bully or speak over them. It happens in the chamber. It's quite incredible. Wow. Even just the words that Bridget just used around the idea that we would be importing terrorists, that paints an incredible aspersion on people seeking safe haven. Of course, security checks occur. So, but with respect, Bridget, I worked with Morrison government.
Just back to that question. Sorry. So just back to that question, Zali. I just wanted to ask you: are you inflaming tensions by using loaded terms?
No, it
is
not inflammatory to call out behaviour that is divisive. Peter Dutton is dangerous.
But your term is divisive.
Dangerous with this.
Is it not?
But no, this is the term of the dictionary to describe the conduct that is behaved. It is quite outrageous to suggest that it is okay to behave in a racist manner or to support a racist policy, but not okay to call it out. I'm sorry, it is not divisive to call out a policy that is seeking to divide.
Okay.
This is dangerous.
I've gone over time, but Zali, I'll just leave it there. But yeah, just closing thought, Bridget.
Yeah, I've just, Zali's gone all lawyeristic, technical on us, but I don't think that the people in Gaza are actually a race under the technical definition. The UN also asks that refugees be settled in regions. So it is a reality that by not putting people through the appropriate checks and balances, we run the risk of importing terrorist sympathisers. And I think what Zali has just demonstrated in this tirade on this program is how close the Teals are to the Greens, because they absolutely have the same policies, the same approach, and they're prepared to risk Australian safety above all else.
Bridget, Zali, we'll have to leave it there. I've gone way over time, but appreciate you coming on and talking about the issue.